president to sort of lead this search effort? Is this Ron Klain who's helping him go through this process, and would he then be the person to kind of shepherd the nominee through the Hill process as well, through meetings and such?
Sure. Well, first, the vice president will play a central role in this process, and the president intends to consult with her very closely. Obviously, she has a long history as a former attorney general, as a member of the Judiciary Committee, and he respects her opinion greatly. In addition to the Vice President, Ron Klain will, of course, play a role. Dana Remus, Cedric Richmond, Paige Herwig, who's a member of our counsel's office, and Louisa Terrell. As has been standard in the past, we would anticipate bringing in additional expertise from the outside to advise during the confirmation process. Would expect we would have that team in place prior to a selection, but that is not finalized at this point.
And now that we have heard the president speak publicly about this, I wonder if you can take us sort of back maybe a little bit in time. When did the president first learn of Justice Breyers' intent to retire, and how was he informed? If you could just explain a little bit of the backstory.
Sure. Well, first, as you heard the president say, and you've heard us say, this was Justice Breyers' decision to make on his own timeline, and through his own conditions he determined. So we aren't going to lay out more specifics from here in terms of when the president was aware. The president, I can tell you that Justice Breyer hand-delivered the letter to the president this morning that you saw released by the Supreme Court, and that was the formal notification from Justice Breyer.
And I asked you about this yesterday, just wondering if you had a chance to look into it, just confirming, is it the White House's view that the vice president does have the authority to break a tie in a Senate confirmation?
I know you asked me that. I know there is historic precedent on that front, but I will double check and see, and I'm sorry, I apologize for not getting back to you on that. Go ahead, Ed.
Just wanted to clarify one thing you said to Darlene, that he's been reviewing bios of potential nominees since last year. I think for those of us who covered the campaign, it may have been since the transition, no? That he's been reviewing bios?
Since the campaign, actually.
Yeah.
Since the spring of 2020, when he said that he was going to get a short list.
I'm aware of when he made that comment, of course, but in terms of when he's been reviewing bios as president, since last year. Now, he was inaugurated last year, so, but he did, as Jen just noted, make a commitment on the campaign, which you heard him say he absolutely intends to deliver on, which is to nominate the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court. Ron Klain and Dana Remus have been involved in consulting with the president and preparing bios for him, and that's something he has looked at since last year.
We've never had a president who spent 8 years reviewing judicial nominees as a vice president and 36 years reviewing every judicial nominee before the Senate when he was on the Judiciary Committee. What does he bring to this process as now president that other presidents perhaps haven't, given that experience?
Well, without comparing to past presidents, what I can tell you he brings to the role is an appreciation for the solemn importance of his responsibility as president, and a recognition of the historic role that this process plays, including the importance of selecting somebody who's eminently qualified, which he has every intention of doing, and consulting with Democrats and Republicans in the Senate. He is somebody who, and I think you heard him say this, that is why I think he wanted to convey very clearly that this will be a rigorous process, that he wants to seek a candidate who's worthy of the excellence and decency of Justice Breyers' legacy, that he will meet with potential nominees, he will study their records carefully, and he is going to take all of the advice he can get. So what he brings to it is experience and also a recognition of the solemn importance of the role any president plays in selecting a nominee to serve in a lifetime appointment on the Supreme Court. Go ahead.